And we are live. And Ben Schenkman, an otherwise very intelligent man, has chosen to come back on our show for a second time. We know not why. How are you doing tonight, Ben?
I am doing fantastic, Mike and Ro. Thanks for having me back on.
Are you really going to
Welcome.
say they've come back to the show and say very intelligent, because those are like mutually exclusive kind of thing?
You gotta, throw the conundrum out there to get people interested.
Smart
All
people
right.
make choices. It's
So anyway, Ben, how are you doing today? I think I asked you that. Let's get to the next question. See, this is why I don't run the interviews usually. So you were on before when you had your first trilogy. Is that over? Or is there more books in that series?
the first 3 books were out last time I was on.
Yep.
That My Boss is the Devil being the first, and The Devil You Know. I think I had released the first audiobook
Oh, sorry.
by
Book 2.
then. Yeah, book 2, Dueling Shoulder Angels, and then book 3, Too Many Gods in the Kitchen. I have since released both the first and the second audiobook for
Nice.
that. I narrate and produce those myself, along with my lovely partner Katya, who voices one of the main characters in the second book. We do like classic dual POV narration, and that I narrate the POVs that are from a man's perspective, and they narrate the POVs that are from a woman's perspective, but like do the whole chapters. So it's not dual narration where like it cuts in and out.
Right.
And so those first 2 are released. I'm actually 90+% of the way through writing the 4th book in the series.
Okay.
And that should probably be out in the next few months. It takes a bit. Audio production is a whole nother ball of wax.
Yep.
How many books will be in that series?
The 4th one is actually going to cap the main storyline. Each book is pretty independent in that it builds on the story, but then has a satisfying conclusion. It's like really long serials in that it's each one is self-contained without a cliffhanger for like what the climax is.
Right.
But I think the character development is going to mostly be done in the 4th book. I do have an idea for like an additional trilogy that kind of breaks each of them. By the 3rd book, you get into having 3 POVs. I can't talk about who the 3rd POV is because it's a spoiler, but the 3rd and the 4th book all have 3 POVs. And then I think if I do write more in The Devil You Know, it's going to be either a combination of like prequels or side stories, or another trilogy that actually gives each of those POVs their own book. So it'll just be a trilogy where each character gets a book.
All
Well,
right.
see, that's awkward because my segue was going to be, but we don't care about that series.
Oh no,
We're
what are
here
you
to
doing?
talk about this
Wait a
new
minute.
book.
No, we're not. Go back.
Rose like, absolutely not.
Well, I may have mentioned this the last time you were on. Last January or something?
I think it was.
December?
It was, yeah.
When do these books? What kind of time period do these books take place in?
Okay, so it was contemporary. The first book is mostly contemporary for when I wrote it, which was like, let's say 2014 is when I wrote the first draft of it. So it's the 2010s for the most part, though. I think later I kind of ignore time in that it happened in a time that has modern technology, but it's not the 90s. It's like the 2010s.
All right, because I'm just looking at these books. There's a very kind of P.G. Wodehouse kind of look to them, which is 1930s.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if you've ever seen Jeeves and Wooster.
I think I have.
Yeah, with BBC did a series with the guy who plays House.
Hugh Laurie.
Hugh Laurie, yeah, and his partner Stephen Fry.
Hmm.
So Fry and Laurie, they were a comedy duo,
Yep, a bit of Fry and
Yeah.
Laurie.
and yeah, bit of Fry and Laurie, and they did a PG Woodhouse series of Jeeves and Wooster, with Stephen Fry being Jeeves, the butler, and that style is just very reminiscent of that kind of 1920s, I guess 20s more than 30s kind of vibe. So that's all I want to say. So go ahead, Mike.
Okay,
Segue
so
away.
now we can ignore that trilogy. We don't care about it all. Yeah. So let's talk about this one. Let Sleeping Gods Lie, because there's a raccoon on the cover, so it has to be good.
I will. You know what? That's the new tagline. There's a raccoon on the cover, so it has to be good. Yeah. So this is my new book, Let Sleeping Gods Lie. It is a standalone / series starter. It's only a standalone because I haven't written more books yet, but the plan is to write more books. It follows a new main character. His name is Corbin Pierce. He is an anthropologist who teaches community college in New Haven, Connecticut, because again, the only way that I liken myself to Stephen King is much like he has Maine, I have New Haven, Connecticut. All my books so far take place in New Haven, whether it's alternate realities of each other, because this is not connected to The Devil You Know. Different magic system, different characters, honestly, a more serious vibe, even though there's still like sarcasm and humor, because I can't not do that, but it's not a dark comedy like my first series.
Okay.
What's the connection with the raccoon?
So, funny story. I've actually been holding on to this for like 20 years. So I was in New Haven. It was my old stomping grounds. I went to college there. And I was walking through downtown and I was with some friends and we were walking down one of the streets and we said, "Oh my God, look at that fat raccoon." And standing next to a building, suddenly now staring at us, is a fat raccoon, like the fattest raccoon you have ever seen, because it's a city raccoon. They eat well. And he just looks at me and I look at him. And without breaking eye contact, he reaches into this crack between like the buildings that he's standing next to, but it's like this big. It's like, you know, a tenth of his size, but raccoons are giant rodents, so they can squish themselves. So he reaches behind him and pulls himself into the slot between buildings until he disappears and never to be seen again. And like daring us to say, no one is going to believe you that this ever happened. And then I held on to that experience for like 20 years and decided that it needed to be in like the first chapter of this book. So the raccoon is a creature. So the way that I set this up, the world that Corbin Pierce lives in is very much, it's animist in that there's a spirit, there's magic and everything. And some people have the ability to harness that, whether from themselves or from nature. And there are animals that exist on one side of the veil and one side and on the other in the spirit lands. And then there are some that kind of straddle both, and that they exist both in the physical world and in the spirit world. And this raccoon is one of them, which is why Corbin, who's effectively a spirit conservationist, tries to rescue the raccoon when he's got a poacher that's coming after him. The raccoon then features prominently later on in the book during a very heisty segment with one of my other favorite side characters in the book. Her name is Katie. Love her. And yeah, so just the raccoon's everyone's favorite character. He features prominently. He deserved to be on the cover. And really, you're going to buy a book that has a cute raccoon on the cover.
You can't kill him. You know that, right?
Yeah. I mean, did either of you watch The Walking Dead? And like, there was like the hashtag, like, if Daryl dies, we riot. This raccoon is going to have the same feel. Like if anything bad for real happens to this raccoon, I'm going to have people knocking on my door.
Does he have a name?
Okay.
He does get a name, which actually goes into an interesting little piece of research. So his name is Scratch, not to be confused with like Old Scratch from like the devil, because that's a nickname. Old Scratch is a nickname
Yep.
for the devil. So I'm just saying,
Okay.
like,
I
it's
believe it.
still unrelated to my first series, nonetheless. The Algonquin word for raccoon is araccoon. So like us settlers that showed up and were like, what's that? And the Algonquin people said, a raccoon. We're like, oh, a raccoon. But our raccoon means I think it's like scratches in the dirt. So when Corbin gets a longer meeting with this raccoon, and he can't just keep calling him Fat Raccoon, so Corbin names him Scratch. He's not anthropomorphic in that, like, he doesn't talk, he doesn't have telepathy, but he just has very expressive hands and face. So like the raccoon is a very expressive character, even though he doesn't utter a word.
Do you recreate that scene of the raccoon hiding in the building with this one? Yeah.
Yes, I do.
You almost have to with that, don't you?
I do. In fact, yeah, it happens, and it's not a spoiler. It happens in the first chapter, not even like halfway into the first chapter.
So what is if we're in a kind of a modernish world with a little bit of magic, what is your main character's dilemma / purpose, raison d'etre?
So,
sorry.
right, the raison d'etre.
Yeah, much better.
So it's a combination of things. There's a lot going on in this book. There is an A plot and a B plot, and the A plot is it's a murder mystery. New Haven has a pretty sizable unhoused population, and that's even like just for reals. There's a significant unhoused population in New Haven, and in this book, the big catalyst is that there's a homeless person that is discovered to have been killed, and that so Corbin, not just a spiritual conservationist, geez, not just like a magical conservationist, he also cares about the people in the city and has gotten to know the unhoused population through some outreach that he's done as part of like there are a number of churches and soup kitchens that feed that provide meals on the New Haven Green, which is like it's a green space in the middle of New Haven,
like a park.
Yeah, like a park. And so Corbin goes there regularly for this and has gotten to know a number of the unhoused people. So that's like A plot is people start dying. And then B plot is something having to do with the green that I can't get into too much, but it's there's a lot. The pace of the book is fast. It's not like too fast for an urban fantasy, but compared to my first series, which definitely had a lot of people feel like the first series has a cozier feel to it, even though in like books 2 and 3, the stakes ramp up. This book is a more traditional urban fantasy in that there's more action, there's a more solid magic system, and the pace is faster. So, you know, one of my early readers said, the book starts with Corbin jumping off of a roof after a raccoon, and then it doesn't really let up after that.
Nice.
Good
reviewers.
Yeah.
So what led you to the genre switch?
So it isn't a genre switch. It's still urban fantasy. It's still pretty heavily into. So I feel like my genre is urban fantasy that leans heavily into magical realism, in that my magic systems tend to be based pretty coupled with something real, whether it's a tie into religion, whether it's a tie into, contracts that hold magical weight, whether it's very prescribed ceremonial witchcraft. Like, it isn't just like slinging fireballs and throwing curses around. I feel like that's most of my books tend towards that. So it's still urban fantasy. It's just not as cozy. And what led to that, at least, is this book needed to have more action. Like, I knew what was going to happen at the beginning. I had the scene of this guy jumping off of this roof after a raccoon. And then I had the ending, which I can't tell you because that's the ending. But like, I had both of those things, and it needed some pretty solid action, some, a little bit of fighting, a lot of just activity. So it was just, it is a more dynamic book as far as an urban fantasy goes than my first series. So I actually found so far that some readers find the pace of the new book challenging if they're really a fan of the first series.
So
go ahead, Ben.
So when you write your books, like this one, you knew the beginning, you knew the end. Now, I wish I was more of a plotter, so I always know the beginning and the end of my book before I start. And whereas Ro is more of a pantser and he just writes and goes where he goes. Where are you at in the spectrum?
Are you a plotter if you know the beginning and end and then nothing in the middle, Mike? Does that count as plotting?
I will not start until I call them signposts. There's 5 things that I have to know happen, and it's like I will write A to B to C to D to E, and what happens in between, the characters decide what they want to do, so I don't bother to plot because it never turns out the way I plot it.
Yeah, you and me, Mike, we're plantsers.
Yeah.
I almost always start with a beat sheet, like a Save the Cat style beat sheet.
Yep.
And so that gives me my signposts. It also, like, my brain can't conceptualize writing a book that's more than around 80,000 words. Like, all of my books average about that. Because ain't nobody got time.
Exactly.
Who's got time for all of that? I mean, could I write something longer than that? Maybe, but like, I have a hard time thinking about it, and I think I write enough. My writing is not spare, but my writing is not overly verbose. So I tend toward that word count. So I have my signposts with my beat sheet, and it helps me know roughly where I need to go. So I kind of make myself that beat sheet outline of, these are, to your point, you've got 5 things. I've got, I don't know, eight things, whatever those things are that are in a beat sheet, before I get started. But then I do let the story go where it wants.
Right.
Again, the beat sheets are just that, beats. Like, have I had a dark night of the soul? Sure. What happens? Well, the beat sheet didn't tell me that. I still had to, like, have the story happen and figure it out.
Right. Yeah, I used to outline like pages before I would start, and then I'd start writing, and my characters would be like, "No, I would never do that." And I'm like, "But now we're off the path." So now it's like, okay, I'm going to have to negotiate with fictional characters and lose. So let's not spend too much time on stuff that will never make it.
Yeah, I mean, you could pretend that there's even a negotiation to be had, but
I'm still there. I still pretend.
It's the lies we tell ourselves, just the little ones.
Keeps us going. So Ben, with an urban fantasy with some magic in it, one has to assume that your antagonist also.
Ro, you're frozen. I'm guessing he was going to say your antagonist also has magic.
Well, here he's back,
right. Yeah, everything just kind of froze up on my end. I just saw everybody stop. It's like, what was that not clear? Yeah, your antagonist also has a magic component to whatever it is that they're trying to do.
Yes, and honestly, in like the second chapter, you'll find out that the main antagonist, his name is Alexander Hughes. He wanted to recruit Corbin at one point. So, Corbin is ex Ivy League in that he graduated from an Ivy League school and then gave that up to try and serve his community better. So yeah, the antagonists. So everyone knows. Actually, let me just ask: what's the most famous secret society at Yale?
Skull and Bones, isn't it?
It is, in fact, Skull. It is the least secret society that ever existed. So my play on Skull and Bones, because again, this is not Lee Bardugo's Ninth House. It just happens in the same city, and I do not follow the same tropes. But there is a double secret part of the society called the Hand. So it's imagine Skull and Bones, and then imagine that there's a skeletal hand that's actually where the magic is and kind of controls things. Alexander Hughes leads the Hand, and they are an antagonist, and then prime suspect in whatever bad magical thing happens in the city. You can assume that Corbin thinks the Hand has something to do with it.
Yeah. If you're old enough to remember the 2004 election with John Kerry and George Bush, you know that they were both in Skull and Bones, so one of them was going to be president. So yeah, if you're of a certain age, you know of that society.
So are we to assume then that you graduated from this particular institution?
I graduated from Southern Connecticut State University, the state university that is miles down the road from Yale in the same city. And we held no great love for our Yale neighbors. I have nothing against the university as a monolith, but the people in it were not great to deal with.
I can see that.
So that's different than UConn then.
Yeah, UConn's in Stores, which is not that's like northeast of New Haven.
It's way far away, like 30 miles.
Your Google Maps is better than mine. I don't know. Yes, probably.
I'm just guessing because Connecticut's a small state.
Yeah, it's not that big. Yeah.
It's That's all right. So, how much research do you have to do? You mentioned during our in-depth research before the show, Mike and my in-depth research portion.
3 minutes.
That you were doing a little research into some Native Americans and things like that. How much do you find yourself doing before you and during while you're in your writing process? Blah, 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 blah.
So normally it depends on how much I already know about it, but in this case, quite a lot, because I was also trying to represent, at least in part, the culture of a minority and marginalized community. So I'm going to step on my soapbox for 2 seconds at least, in that I feel like as authors, if we are going to try and include any piece of a marginalized culture, we have to try our best to get it right. And just to be clear, I am Jewish. Corbin Pierce is not an indigenous character because I am not indigenous.
Wait a minute. Schenkman is Jewish?
It's
sarcasm. Never mind. Just let it go.
It could just be German. We don't, but yes, it is in fact. Schenkman means a tavern keeper, so there's that. So Corbin Pierce is not an indigenous character. Corbin Pierce holds many of the same values of a culture that feels like it needs to be a steward and protector of the land, but he himself is not an indigenous character because I will not try to write from that lens. There are varying opinions from various authors on whether your main character can be of a culture that you have no experience with. And I will simply say that that is both a tar pit and a landmine, all wrapped up in barbed wire and broken glass. And you either have to get it so right that it can't be questioned, or you will always have people who will just assume that you should have never touched it in the first place. And to be perfectly frank, even not having the main character be indigenous, I have an indigenous supporting character, specifically one who's two-spirit. So I'm not just trying to represent some of the culture of a people, but also a very specific practice, belief of those people. So even doing that, there are going to be people that think I have no business writing any of that story, but I did as much of my due diligence as possible. I did a lot of research, not just looking at like myths and legends, but also reading actual like history books published by Yale Press. In some cases, the irony there being profound, about the Quinnipiac specifically, because they were the predominant tribe in the New Haven area. I was in touch with the clan mother for the Golden Hill Poggusets. So thank you to clan mother Shoren Piper of the Golden Hill Poggusets for corresponding with me about my story, what it is that I wanted to do, how I wanted to represent some characters and some of the culture. She also was like an alpha reader of the book and provided some feedback on it. I also had a fantastic arc reader of mine, who is a member of the Anishinaabe tribe, who provided a lot of very actionable feedback on how I needed to change that supporting character's story to ensure that I am not unintentionally bringing tokenism or stereotypes or whatever, even no matter how well intentioned my writing could be. So like, it's all a better story for those things. And there are still some people who would pick the book up and then throw it away immediately based on that. And no shade to those people. I'm never going to say you should let me represent your culture. That's not like what this is about. But I did my best to both research and speak with like real living representatives of the culture to get it as right as possible. And so far the reviews are extremely positive and people feel the care that's gone into trying to make that right.
Okay, I need some room on your soapbox. First of all, good on you for doing that, because tokenism is, I think something like that, it's very easy to create a Tonto-like character, right? Who I, even going back that far to, Tonto, I don't think they were trying to be dismissive, right? I just don't think they knew much. But to your point of, there are people who think that, if you are not of that group, then you should not be writing that group. I hate that mentality with a white hot passion, because if that were the case, we would all then be writing about us three would all be writing about white men, right? And then we would get the, how come all your stories are about white men, right? So you can't win doing that. I think the road to take is exactly what you've done, is you sincerely and honestly try to do your best to provide an accurate representation. But, it's like actors saying, well, how come you didn't have a insert whatever here person play that part? Well, because it's fucking acting, right? Your job is to play the part of other things. And if only a take your thing can play this part, does that mean they can't play any other part? Because that seems unfair too, right? That's why it's acting. So good for you for doing the extra effort and making it work. And for those people who would just throw your book away while you are being very nice and saying no shade on them, you're a better man than me.
The advice that I got from the clan mother was good luck and you can't make everyone happy. When I was like, do you feel like anything in this book is in any way offensive to your tribe or culture? And she said, I enjoyed your story. Good luck with it. send me a copy when it's out, which reminds me, I need to send her a copy now that it's out. So it's like, from her perspective, I did the things that I needed to do, but no person even represent. I mean, I'm a Reformed Jew. There are Jews that would tell me that I am not Jewish enough to represent any of my culture. So like, no person is a monolith of their culture.
Right.
So all I'm saying is, not everyone is going to agree with other people who think that what I did was good. I will say, though, as far as the acting thing, just to make books are a little bit different in that, again, we're talking about representation, and we're talking about opportunities for marginalized people. I have this idea for a story. I agree with you that I feel like I did it the right way, that I walked the line, and that I told my story without trying to assume the perspective of a marginalized character while still trying to represent some of the marginalized culture. And I think we can do that differently in books than if we're talking about a movie that's really trying to portray a marginalized person. Having someone act and pretend to be of that culture isn't the same as giving like living, breathing, talented actors the opportunity to take those roles. So like, yes and no. I totally get what you're saying, and in many ways I agree with you, but books are a little different in that, like,
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that they shouldn't be doing it, right? If you have two actors who are equally qualified, one happens to belong to that marginalized group, absolutely.
Mhm.
But at the same time, I don't think that it should be limited only to that marginalized group, right? I mean, if a marginalized group wants to gain more acceptance and everything, actually, it might be more beneficial to have someone who's not a part of that really kind of have to dig into it like you've done and learn about it. And then they can tell other people, they can be a voice, another voice who isn't a part of that community to act on behalf of, right? Or in concert with. So I'm just saying that it shouldn't always be, it can only be this thing, because if a marginalized person can only play that marginalized community, then that means they can't play anything else. And as an actor, I would think they wouldn't want to be pigeonholed into that either, any more than someone else wouldn't want a chance to earn a paycheck playing a role.
Yeah, let's not get
That's not a
ourselves
book again.
though.
That's not what we're talking about. So.
Yeah, the studios hire stars based on how many movie tickets they think that they will sell.
Well, exactly. It's all money, right? Because
Yep.
they're not really too concerned about their politics.
Yeah.
Unless they're Mel Gibson.
So Ben, who has done your covers? Because I'm guessing that this new book was a different artist than the first trilogy or first three books.
So it is. I am sure it is a different artist. It is still the same company. So my first series, those covers were done by Get Covers, which is like the budget arm of Miblart, which is a Ukrainian design company.
Yep.
I'm going to be perfectly honest. They had done an earlier version. Some people I've been talking to have even like still have screen caps of the old cover and have said, Ben, what's up with having two covers? So I had one cover and I didn't love it. Like, I liked it, but I didn't love it. And so I said, you know what, for the cost of Get Covers, because Get Covers is the most affordable covers you will ever
Fantastic.
get.
I love them.
I said, you know what, I'm just going to do another one. So I commissioned another cover and I said, all right, instead of like this, more like this time. And so I came up with the second concept, and then I put it to my readers. I put it in my newsletter. I put it on some urban fantasy reader groups. I said, which one do you like better? Do you like the original cover or do you like the new one? And honestly, a version of this originally had Corbin holding French fries, because that's actually a scene from the book, is Corbin offers the raccoon French fries. But that version of this cover read too much like a comedy, and it is not. So I had to change it. So that's why it's just the Fistful of Magic, like every other urban fantasy book that you'll find. So it's very on brand for the genre. So it's another Get Covers cover. I will say though, I am working on a fully illustrated version with the parent company, Biblart, because I had been toying around with the idea of a fully illustrated cover and loved it. Loved the idea of that so much that I decided to commission one. So I will eventually, like, there's a reason I'm not offering this in hardcover yet. It's because I'll be relaunching the physical copies once I have my fully illustrated cover.
Nice.
On an entirely different subject, not related to books at all. You're a Maine Coon dad. Are they around? Can you bring them on?
I mean, like, I would have to leave the room and try to go find him. Like, would you want me to do that?
Oh, Mike might not, but I'm a cat person, so I would absolutely love it.
He'd probably be mad if I could even find him, because I think he's probably sleeping it off on a cat tree somewhere.
Yeah, probably. Lazy, no good
How much
thing.
does he weigh?
22 to 24 pounds.
That's a
Solid.
pretty small Maine Coon, isn't it?
No, it's about right. I
I've
mean,
had a
like,
domestic short hair at 22 pounds.
that's a pretty big domestic short
He
hair.
ate well. Yeah.
So he's not the raccoon in your story. You're not,
No,
substituting.
the Maine Coon lives in in The Devil You Know. That's Odin.
Ah.
Is the Maine Coon cat. He's in that book. Though I will say, like, my books, there's always an animal. So like my Boss of the Devil has the introduction of Odin, the Maine Coon cat. Then in book 2, Amy's cat, Pants, shows up. She's like a little long-haired domestic tuxedo cat. That's actually our cat. Like, Pants is a real cat named Pants. And then in the 4th book that I'm writing now, I'm introducing our orange cat named Jack is getting a write-in in book 4. So yeah, I'm very much a write your animals into your story person.
Solid. I agree.
I was going to say, Mike, I hope you agree with that.
My Proxima Station, the 5 alien races are based on the 5 dogs that I've had, and I gave all my dogs the names of the aliens. So
Perfect.
It's so easy to write because any situation I can tell you exactly what they would have done. So I'm never like, what is the motivation here? I'm like, Brenda will just throw people against the wall until they agree with her. No, that's what she'll do. So it's great. I never get stuck. Like, what is the motivation? I know the motivation. Food.
That or procreating with your leg.
So
you have a newsletter. You said how many folks you got in your newsletter?
I'm edging up on. Actually, wait, no, never mind. I'm close to 600 people.
Nice.
So it's not a very big newsletter, but like a decent chunk of it are people who have signed up for ARC reads.
Have you gotten most of them like in person at shows or something, or because that sounds like a pretty active newsletter list? As mine's probably about twice that, and I get very limited interaction regardless of questions I ask.
I don't get a lot of read through. So like, these are people who signed up to be ARC readers. Whether they actually ARC read is debatable sometimes. But yeah, I mean, there is a freebie. Like, people who sign up for my newsletter get The Thief of Joy, which is a short story prequel for The Devil You Know. It's a story about how Nick gets into Lucifer's crosshairs in the first place. It also introduces a really cool character named Frank, who I envision is like Jeffrey Dean Morgan. And so like, he may eventually get his own standalone prequel because Frank's a cool character. But yeah, so I do have a reader magnet that people can get for signing up for my newsletter. I do engage on a monthly basis, giving people updates about my writing, where the projects are at, what freebies are that I know about for like book giveaways and things. So it's, every time, you know how it is. Every time my newsletter goes out, 5 people unsubscribe and I get a few more later. So it's it's creeping up there eventually.
You
So
do a lot
when
of
you ask-
in-person events. Sorry, Mike.
No, go ahead.
Do you do a lot of in-person events, Ben?
I don't do as many as I would like. My schedule is complicated. My son is not at the point where he has any interest in attending any of these kinds of things that I would want to do. So I really only I have him every other week. So I kind of schedule in-person things when I can, but also there's not like a lot of book events around us. Daddy Winchester, not Negan, just to answer that question that just came up. Yeah, Frank is definitely is Dean Morgan as gruff papa, not as evil bastard. But yeah, so I'm part of an authors co-op that's I'm in Massachusetts, but we span Connecticut and Massachusetts, and that's actually that I publish my work under Caffeinated Terrier Press, which is an imprint that I set up that I also use for people in the co-op that want to publish their work. We're having a Caffeinated Terrier Press signing on November 8th at like a local Barnes and Noble that supports indie authors.
Nice.
I've also done I did a steampunk fair and sold some books. I'm trying to find other local like bookish events, but it's a lot. It's a lot of work.
Because I would think a lot of this would go really well at Comic Cons.
I might try to do more now that I have enough books out. Like,
yeah.
I wouldn't want to go to a Comic Con with one book out because yeah.
Oh, you'd have to be really stupid to do that. I did.
I was going to say that's a man that knows that just said that. But yeah, I think I want to look at it. I think there's like Terrificon, I think is at Mohegan Sun in Connecticut.
Nice.
There's a new Comic-Con in Springfield. But there's not a lot of like big events.
What about the Big E?
Oh my God. Did you just see my PTSD activate from like trying to go to the Big E? Like
why don't you explain what it is for folks?
The Big E is like the granddaddy of all country fairs mixed with a carnival, mixed with with a home show. Like, it's a lot. There's a lot going on. I took my son to it last year. We actually had a really good time, but it was so packed. Like, we went on a Tuesday, and that was the only reason it was even remotely bearable. So I will never sell things at the Big E because I enjoy life. Maybe other events. I would rather go to Anime Boston than go to the Big E. How about that?
All right. I mean, it's a packed multi-day event. Sounds good to me, but I imagine it's probably pretty spendy to get in there.
Yeah. Oh, I can't even imagine what it costs to have a booth at the Big E.
I know. I have some questions.
Sure. Tell me when you find out.
So what is next? Are we writing the next book in this series? Or are we writing something else? Can you tell us?
Yeah. So I got a lot of things going on. Okay. So number one, I'm finishing up book 4 of the Devil You Know. The title is A Little Death Among Friends. I already have the cover. It's fantastic. If you want to, so I'm going to give you one guess. What color is book 4?
Blue.
Yep.
I was looking. I was like, the book 4 has to be blue. I was looking at your covers. It has to be.
It's gonna look so good. Okay, so I'm like 90% of the way done writing it. So then I have to deal with all of the process for that. One thing I talked to you about last time I was here, though.
Yeah, in January. Yeah.
I am probably very soon going to open up ARC reads for my next published book, which is in fact the Jewish urban fantasy that I hinted at last time. I wrote that, like, I finished it probably March of this year. It is all done. is through the through beta reads, through editing, through proofreading. I formatted it. It's ready to go. And it is another, like, this might truly be a standalone, or if it isn't, like, it hints at something at the end of it, but it's going to end up being a cycle where the different books in the series relate to each other, but are not a continuation of the main character's story per se. But yeah, it's called My Brother's Keeper. It's we're not supposed to have favorite children. It's my best book yet. And like, I don't like tooting my own horn, because I can't not do the humility thing, because I'll feel physically ill. But according to other people, it's my best book yet.
So how long has this been finished and just sitting there, you psychopath that hasn't published it yet?
The draft was done in like March, and like, I draft real clean. I have a very active alpha reader. Thanks, Tanya. And so my drafts are really pretty good. So technically I could have published this like 6 months ago.
Oh my
But
God.
look, I made a mistake. Okay. Sometimes we get caught up in the fact that we write a commercially viable book. And so we think to ourselves, I could handle a little rejection for a while. Why don't I see whether agents or publishers are interested in this book? And I actually had a friend of mine. I had a friend of mine who was trying to get into the agent business. And so she acted as my agent and put my book on sub. And we actually had gotten like a hit back from a decent sized publisher. And so we were effectively waiting out the clock on that. And
okay. So you're not a psychopath. At least not that we can judge so far. I mean, you might be hiding it really well.
I need you to understand how close I was to giving up every month and saying, like, I just need people to read this book. I want it in people's hands.
But that's got to be like the height in the valley all at once, right? Because you get the hit and somebody might be interested in that. You can't help but think, am I going to buy a car? You know, it's like, what is this going to mean for me? And then after however many months, they go,
yeah. Well, no. After how many months, they just go, just no response. You get ghosted, because that's how it works.
No, but you can fool yourself for those couple of months thinking, well, they're reviewing it and they're talking to their marketing people and they're looking, you know, and then all of a sudden, no. It's like
I didn't even get a full request. I got send your synopsis and platform, and that's the death knell right now. And like, if I can just really complain viciously about traditional publishing for a moment,
sure, knock yourself out.
The audacity of the industry to try to tie the worthiness of a book to the size of the author's social media platform that already exists is disgusting. This idea is insane, because like, if I have a big enough social media following that you care about it, I don't need you. Like,
exactly right.
Like, God forbid, like, if I got an offer from a small to medium publisher and I had 100,000 person platform, I don't need them. Like, it's this snake eating its own tail, because the industry doesn't want you unless you come with a platform that will buy your book. So like, but then it doesn't make any sense. So like, I assume after we sent my synopsis and my lack of platform, they were like, not enough interest. Also, it's urban fantasy. which is not a very popular genre right now. So it's like lots of nails in the coffin. I will say though, I was surprised that I did not get more interest from like Jewish publishers. It's like, I got a really good story based on Jewish magic and mysticism and demonology with a Jewish protagonist telling a very Jewish story, and nobody wants it. Like,
Yeah, but how many? I forget the name of the company that put him out, but I don't think it was a big movie company that put out the Hebrew Hammer.
you just activated my what I love I love it. Look, the Hebrew Hammer is a
movie, isn't it?
terrible. It is a terrible good movie. It is so bad, but like I watch it probably once a year as like that's my Hanukkah movie.
A Jewish guy I worked with in the Air Force said, "Man, he's like, you've got to watch the Hebrew Hammer. You absolutely have to."
I made my friends watch it. Well, so my birthday's in December, and we had like a get together for my birthday, and they were like, "What do you want to watch?" I'm like, I want to watch movies." So we watched two of my favorite movies. One is one of my favorites, and one is one of my favorite bad movies. And the first one is Pool Hall Junkies, which is a fantastic movie. It stars Christopher Walken and the kid who was Lex Luthor in Smallville. Great movie. Go watch it. And then I made them watch the Hebrew Hammer. And by the end of it, they were looking at me like, what is this? And I'm like, it's Shaft, but Jewish. Just like
Right,
that's
exactly, a Jewish Shaft.
And they were just like, I don't think they ever recovered from the viewing. But like, yes. So sorry, you took a deep cut row that I don't know that you expected me to just dive right into.
You didn't expect that, did you?
I mean, to be fair, no, I didn't.
Nice.
So yeah, so sorry. You asked me about what was next, and I
Yep.
went. Wait, so yes, My Brother's Keeper, I expect to start arc reads in the not too distant future. Let Sleeping Gods Lie just came out. I think the general rule of thumb is you probably don't want to publish with like less than 3 months apart because it's
Right.
trying to ride that algorithm wave. So I'm thinking I'm gonna publish somewhere between like February and March, which means I usually start my arc campaigns like, I don't know, 2 to 3 months early because I want people to have plenty of time to read.
Yep.
So yeah, so book 4 of The Devil You Know, My Brother's Keeper, which is the Jewish magic and mysticism book, which I'm so happy about that magic system too. I had a consultant. I say consultant like he wasn't just this cool guy that I reached out to and he was willing to talk to me. He goes by Adne Sadeh. He's the Jewish monster hunter. So like if you Google the Jewish monster hunter, that's him. I think his real name's out there too. It's Jack. And he knows everything about Jewish demonology, magic, and all that. He provided me with so many pieces of research and material and pointed me in the right direction. He alpha read the book and gave me feedback on the magic system. So like my goal was to, again, back to the whole magical realism thing. It is an urban fantasy with real solid magic that is tied directly to the lore of a living religion. So like it's good stuff.
Have you thought about doing a Kickstarter for it?
For the book?
Yeah.
But I already have the cover. I already paid the editor. It's already
You have the book done. That's fine. Now you just need to work on your extras, right?
Let's see whether or not I can. Well, I might end up doing a Kickstarter. So once I'm done with book 4, I do plan to do like a fancy omnibus version of The Devil You Know.
Mm-hmm.
But then also audiobooks are always a possibility. So yes, I narrate my own for The Devil You Know. I also know how much time and effort it takes. So I'm currently For Let Sleeping Gods Lie, I'm currently pursuing my options when it comes to having someone else produce the audio. And I would potentially do that with My Brother's Keeper as well. So if I can't get, say, an audiobook publisher to pick them up, I could always do a Kickstarter for an audiobook run, you know?
There you go.
So I have a question because based on your answers, I think you might unfortunately be like me. When you start researching your book, is it like I could start writing now, but I could do more research instead? Let me do more research. Or are you actually wanting to get writing? Because I could just research and never publish and be happy.
Mike, you're on your own.
Okay, well, that's not unusual.
I am a just-in-time researcher in that I will write the book until I hit something that I don't know well enough to just write, in which case I will do a fast amount of research, just enough to write the next thing and keep going. So like Let Sleeping Gods Lie had more upfront research because there was some stuff I really felt like I needed to get right. My Brother's Keeper has a lot of like back research and that I wrote something and then realized, oh no, that really wouldn't have worked like that. And then like going back to the sources and fixing it up afterwards.
So I will say that my nephew is actually a medical doctor, and I just love okay, Johnny, this guy has to crawl for like 60 feet. He has to leave a blood trail, but he can't bleed out. Where can I have him cut? And he's like, Uncle Mike, we try to fix people, right? We don't try to injure them. And I just love because I get to push the button and he gives me an answer because he can't not, because that's just his personality. So I just love doing. I'm like, okay, next scenario, and he's like, we try to help people, Uncle Mike. I don't know.
What's wrong with you, old man?
It's like, Uncle Mike, I'm going to end up on a list.
That's right.
I asked him, the last one was, okay, if I have an alien that's big enough and strong enough, and they want to help my main character, so they just grab him by the head and just pull him up by his head to his feet, will this do any serious damage to him? He's like, I don't know. It's not like we test this. He's like, if he doesn't have a back injury, he should be fine, I guess. I don't know. Don't use my name.
Just don't swing him around a lot. You know?
So yeah, Johnny. I won't say what his last name is, but he's my brother's son. My last name's Molman. Just saying.
All right. Really quickly, where are you guys from? Well, our guest is from New England, and Mike and I are from Virginia. Well, I'm from New England, but I live in Virginia. Griffins, yes, absolutely.
No, boo hiss. Did we ask you this question? I don't think we asked you the question last time. Good.
And this is good to know. Maybe I'll do my own.
Okay, Ben. Here's the question for you.
Okay.
I want you to picture you are going down the main drag of New Haven, Connecticut.
Yep.
You're in a saddle. This saddle can either be on a T-Rex or a Griffin. Which one do you choose and why? And Ithra's wrong.
So I feel like you don't know this, but I co-authored an Inkfort Publishing Derby book that happens to involve a T-Rex. So I feel like brand loyalty, I like have to say T-Rex.
Good answer.
But like putting brand loyalty aside, I like flying. I like the idea of flying. Like griffins fly, right? We're talking about griffins.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So I always tell people, if it's the T-Rex, they can stomp on the annoying drivers. They can pick the cars up with their mouth and throw them into the second story of a building. And all the dumb drivers will get out of the way. Even they will figure it out. And I'm a road rager, so I'm very much Team T-Rex. But it's like 90-10. The 90% of people get it wrong. So
Griffins, T-Rex. I mean, like I don't blame you. Also, like, what's the cool factor of riding on a T-Rex? I mean, come on, that's good. I saw one note though. You're an auto buy for author narration. Yep. Have I got a series for you? Definitely check out The Devil You Know. First 2 books are out, available
There.
wide
Whoops.
for audiobooks. Third book. So again, what's coming up next? We're starting production on book 3 for audiobooks in the next week.
So there you go. Look at that. You come wanting something, and Bald&Balding have the answers for you. Isn't that great?
This is great. It's like
So-
Right.
you're like primo stop on the release tour, so I'm very happy to be hanging with you guys again.
And you know, in another 20 years or so, we will be at that cutoff where we can go to publishers and say, we have enough people now. Of course, we'll be nearly dead. So, you know, if not very actually dead, what are you going to do? Ben, thank you for joining us tonight. The next time you come on next year, bring the cat.
I will trap him in this room with me next time.
And if you hear of anybody getting rid of a Maine Coon, like Kitten or something, not selling one for $1,000, but getting rid of one, you let me know, and I will drive to Massachusetts and get it.
I will in fact keep that in mind. Yeah, I know. We have friends in Virginia, for the record. Like I'm down in the Reston area relatively often, all things considered.
I'd be happy to drive up there to get a big cat.
Big cat. You want like one of them 30-pound like long boys though, right?
Oh yeah. Well, whatever.
With like the giant tufty ears.
Yeah.
So a lynx, basically.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's the body of a dog, but the attitude of a cat.
That's my cat.
That's it. That's the
I
best
am not
of
a
both
cat
worlds right
person.
there.
You're missing out, Mike.
You
No,
really are.
I do not like cats. I'm a dog person through and through.
I can leave the house for more than 24 hours.
It's great, isn't it? Leave a couple extra things of water, an extra thing of litter, out you go. The cat doesn't even care, right? You're just like, whatever. Just leave the TV on. So,
I got an auto feeder and auto waterer. He's like, "You're back."
I don't need you. Yeah, that's the beauty of them. Yeah. All right. So, when are we looking? Let me put this up. This is out now. We've been talking about it for an hour. I shouldn't have the question in my voice.
Release day was yesterday. It is available.
You can be one of the first to go get Ben's book.
You could.
And you can rate it 5 stars right now. It's live. Just go ahead and rate it 5 stars and then read it.
There you go. It's got a raccoon. What do
if
you
believe
want?
if you believe in the power of peer pressure, it's a 5-star read. Like if you want to rate it without even reading it, like you could 4 stars is okay. That's, you know.
If you want to buy it without rating it, you can do that too.
You also can do that.
Just buy it in multiple formats, then you're okay.
Yep, and don't
if you're not
forget,
going to rate it, that's the least you can do.
If you buy the paperback now, it will be a collector's item when I re-release the cover, and you will have the only extant copies of the original cover.
Wow.
Ooh,
See?
nice.
Do you sell on your own website or only through Amazon?
I don't, because I like not having to package books. So once I have the new cover, I'll be releasing them on Ingram Spark also. So if you don't like feeding the machine and you like feeding other machines, because it's all machines, you will be able to get the paperback and hardcover once they're available on like Barnes and Noble and other places. But for now, it's just on Amazon.
And if you buy Ben's paperback and join his mailing list and send him a message, he will sign one of those little sticker things and mail it to you that you can put on your book, so your book is then signed. Right?
I will do that. I will say though, I am not above sending signed copies. So if anyone really, really wants a signed copy of my books, I'll even do a whole signed set. You can just that can be a private transaction, and I will accept payment in return for goods and or services.
All right. There you go. So many options.
I'm
Okay.
very accommodating like that.
You're an author. You have to be.
And don't forget, the hammer season is coming. So that's the opportunity.
Okay, so we will be back Friday night on Halloween. We are having
Ooh.
3, maybe 4 horror authors. It's at 9 p.m., so Ro will be
Are we
sleeping.
dressing up?
You can.
Come on, Mike.
No, this is my horror. I do horror, 365.
But wait a minute. Did you say 9 o'clock at night?
Yes, on a Friday night because people have trick or treaters, and that's when they will be back from trick or treating.
All right. 9 o'clock.
Except for Sean Joost, who is actually in South Africa. He said, "Well, Sweeney said I have to be here, so it's 3 a.m. my time, but I will show up because Corvina said so."
All
So
right, cool.
Corvina's a horror author. I don't know what power she has over Sean, who's 4,000 miles away, but he says he's coming at 3 a.m.
Oh, we
His
can
time.
talk about. Oh, okay, good. He's in South Africa. He can go try like the best thing you'll ever eat. I'll save that till Friday.
But I won't be here, Ro.
That's a tease.
Well, I need to know.
You can,
Well,
you
once
can
we're
follow
off,
Okay, that's
yeah,
fair.
we'll tell you when we're off.
yeah, just don't share
All
it
right.
on Twitter. Don't steal our thunder.
Oh, I wouldn't go on Twitter anyway. It's a trash fire.
Well, that's the allure.
It really kind of is.
Like I could just
All
go
right.
to Goodreads. It's fine.
That's how you feel good about yourself. You're like, yeah, but I didn't start a melodrama on Twitter today, so yay me.
Our bar is so low. All right,
Okay.
everybody. Thank you for joining. If you haven't subscribed yet, I don't know what to tell you anymore.
Yeah, you waited this long, so come on.
Exactly.